going on, guys? Welcome back to Marquee Picks. And today we're going over the Week 14 college football rivalry week games. This is the last week of the college football season for the regular season before we start getting into the big time championship, playoff, and bowl games. Me and DeShawn will probably be collabing for those upcoming games as well. But for the last week of college football here, me and DeShawn gonna be recapping the big games for this week here. DeShawn, you have anything to say before we get into these games here this week?
Yeah, this is going to be a huge week, rivalry week at that. Excuse me, damn. Yeah, a lot of big games on the line. A lot of college football playoff implications here. So, honestly, the way I see things going, people may hate me, but hey, it is what it is. I don't like the current rankings as it stands right now, but we're just gonna see. So
yeah, we're in for I think this is gonna be a crazy weekend, and let's go ahead and dive right into the action. First game up of the day here on Friday. We're kicking it off here with the Egg Bowl. We got Ole Miss taking on Mississippi State. Ole Miss is 7.5-point favorites here, 62.5-point total. This game's being played at noon Eastern. So this is interesting how Ole Miss is going to shake out here. A little bit of a coach speculation kind of situation here. Lane Kiffin, is he going to stay at Ole Miss after this season's over? There's some rumors that he could be on the move to possibly another SEC school. Or there's also a rumor in there that he could be coming to Penn State. I don't know if that's going to be true, but we're going to see. We're going to see what happens here at the end of the season. I think it's going to be one of the craziest coaching carousel type of seasons that we've had in college football in a long time. But in this situation here in the Egg Bowl, Mississippi State, man, they got to get one of these wins. They haven't had one of these big time wins yet this season. I don't think they can win this game, but I think 7.5 points. I think they're going to be able to cover it here. Again, they have a raucous crowd there with those cowbells. They're going to be making a lot of noise throughout this whole game. I think they can cover 7.5 points here. Again, I really do think Blake Shapen, he's going to have a big game here. He hasn't had one in a little bit. I do think he comes ready to play here. And again, I think Mississippi State's able to cover here. If you want to look at the over 62.5, I think that's also in play. Both these teams are capable offenses. I mean, I can easily see both teams getting into 30s and points in this game. So 62.5 points. If you want to take the over there, I wouldn't hate it. But I think Mississippi State plus the 7.5 would probably be my lean here. But this is a game that usually always is a pretty competitive game. So I do think Mississippi State being at home, give me the 7.5 for Mississippi State. DeShawn, what do you have here?
Man, just real quick on this game. I'm more in love with the total than the side. I'm kind of on the fence. The things going around with Ole Miss right now, and just the fact that this is a rivalry game, and it's being played in Starkville. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I do think Ole Miss still wins this game, but as you alluded to, I do think a lot of points can be scored. So I'd be on the over 62.5. Honestly, if I had to pick a side, I'd probably go with Ole Miss, just because they're the more polished team. They know what's at stake. It's pretty much a win and end for Ole Miss. If they lose this game, I'm sorry to say they might be out. So they know what they got to do. This is high stakes here. They've had such a great season. And I've heard some people say that this team is better than Ole Miss of last year with Jackson Dart. And I think last year's Ole Miss team defense is better, but I think the offense might be better. But I do like this Ole Miss team. It's just this spot isn't really that lovely. So yeah, I just play the total, the over 62.5.
Yeah, this just kind of feels like a similar spot for Ole Miss from last year's team when they played, later in the season. I believe against Florida, when they would have won that game, I believe they would probably been into playoffs, and they ended up losing that game. Dart threw like 3 or 4 picks in that game. It was a disaster, collapse for Ole Miss last season. I feel like this could be a similar spot here for Mississippi State to upset Ole Miss here. Um, Again, I don't know if Lane Kiffin is going to stay here with Ole Miss. I just feel like there's going to be some interesting kind of tension within the program here. I think this is the end of Ole Miss football. I think if they lose this game, Ole Miss is going to be collapsing for the next couple of years.
Yeah.
So that's my bold prediction here to start off the day for this game here. So let's go ahead and jump into the next game here of the day. We got number 13 Utah traveling at Kansas here. Utah is 13.5-point favorites with a 60.5-point total. This game's also being playing at noon Eastern. And I really do love Kansas in this spot here. You got Jalen Daniels, senior, playing his last game here at Kansas. You got Daniel Highshaw, also a senior, playing his last game here at Kansas. They're your two, big-time playmakers on the offensive side of the ball. They're going to come out here playing at your home field for the last time on senior day against a pretty good team here in Utah. 13.5 points is too much, way too much here. Give me Kansas all day. The over is kind of interesting, but I just feel like I think this could be a game where Kansas just covers. I think this could be like a 31-24 type of score here. Utah probably does win this game, but I do expect Kansas to play a very solid brand of ball here for all four quarters. Again, I like the experienced quarterback here on senior day. And I also have a rushing prop, Daniel Highshaw. I'm going to be taking his over rushing yards, I think. I'm going to have my Price Picks video out shortly after this one gets out. But yeah, player props wise, I do love Daniel Highshaw on the over his rushing yards for this game. I just really think Kansas is going to be able to score enough points to cover 13.5. I do think Utah does win, but I think Kansas can cover 13.5 here. DeShawn, what do you got?
Man, I'm totally on board with you, man. I like Kansas a lot in this game. And the main reason why is because, I think this is a senior day game for Kansas. A lot of things riding on this game. Raucous crowd. I'm actually kind of glad this isn't a night game, like isn't a prime time game. I'm glad it's being played at noon. And like I said, 13.5 points is too much. Jalen Daniels and his mobility, I think, can give Utah problems. As you can see, Utah just played Kansas State at home in Utah in a night game, and man, they got gashed on the ground. They could not stop the run at all. It was actually very surprising. They couldn't stop the run, and what's a similar offense to Kansas State? It's Kansas. So I think they can give Utah similar problems here. I like Kansas in the 13.5. Honestly, I might take Kansas outright to win the game. I just think that, it's just one of those games, man. It's, last game for them. I think they want to go out with a bang. Why not ruin Utah's playoff chances? I think they do it here at home. So yeah, I'll definitely take Kansas at 13.5, and F it, I'll take them outright on the money line to win the game.
Yeah, I definitely do like that shout as well. I think this is another spot where Kansas can pull off an upset. But I think 13.5 points, I think that's just a no-brainer to take Kansas here on the points here, plus 13.5. So that's the second game on board. Let's go ahead and jump into the third game of the slate here. Oh, wow, I'm going to be tuned in for this one. Number 4, Georgia at 23, Georgia Tech. This game is being played at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. Georgia is favored by 13.5 points here with a 59.5-point total. Games being played at 3:30 Eastern. Man, I really do love this Georgia Tech team. I really think they're talented, even though they've been falling apart recently in some of these games they've been playing. They're out of the college football playoff discussion now. I believe they're out of the ACC championship as well. And I just think this is a spot here. Haynes King, Jamal Haynes, they're going to go out here and give it all they got here to cover this spread. I think they do cover the spread. 13.5 points seems like a lot. Again, I feel like Georgia's due to slip up one of these games. I mean, they've been squeaking by teams, but they have been looking really, really strong, especially as of late. Georgia Tech hasn't been looking strong as of late. So you're kind of getting two teams here trending in the different directions. But I think Haynes King, senior, I think he's one of the best quarterbacks in the country. I mean, I expect him to play a very strong game here. Jamal Haynes, I expect him to have some big runs. Yeah, I think they're going to put some pressure on Georgia here. It just kind of feels like the kind of a similar situation to last year's game where Georgia Tech played at Georgia, and they gave them everything they got. They had to go like that game. I think that game went to like 10 overtimes or something. It was a crazy game. One of the best games of the year last year. I think it was the game of the year last year for college football. I think this could be a similar type of game here. You both got they're kind of the similar teams from last year. So I mean, you got similar teams. I'm going to take a plus 13.5 for Georgia Tech. I probably don't think Georgia Tech is going to win this game, but I do think plus 13.5 is a strong lean here. Also, the over 59.5, you could also play that as well. I think both of these teams can score. Yeah, so that's my fix there, DeShawn. What do you got for this one?
Man, just looking at the total, I love the total. I am for sure on the over 59 and a half. I think it's too low. Um, I have not been in love with Georgia Tech as of late at all. You know, I was a big advocate, for them losing at NC State, and they did. Um, I was also a big advocate for them to lose against Pitt, and they did. You know, I just knew Georgia Tech was just itching to lose, just itching, itching, and itching, man. They've been teetering on that line, and it finally came to bite them in the ass. And, their defense has been so bad, so bad as of late. I honestly think that Georgia can really exploit that. And, I think Gunnar Stockton, he's been playing very, very well as of late. I think Georgia will be able to put points up on the board. But like I said, that Georgia Tech offense is not bad. It's pretty good. Like I said, I do trust Haynes King. I think he'll be able to have success on the ground running the ball. Because Georgia's defense hasn't really seen too many like mobile quarterbacks this year. So I really do think that Haynes King could probably give him problems. He gave him problems last year. So definitely in love with the total. I think both teams could definitely score. In terms of the side, man, I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, if I had to lean, I'd probably lean Georgia minus 13 and a half, just because I'm just banking on the better team here. Georgia Tech, what are they playing for? I know they want to beat their rivals, sure, but I mean, like their main goal has now been like wiped out clean. So it's like, what effort are we going to get from this Georgia Tech team? Georgia might put 40 plus on them. Who knows? But yeah, I'll just take Georgia in the 13 and a half, but main lean towards the over 59 and a half.
Yeah, I'm just looking for Haynes King to go out here on a very strong note. And I think he's going to be a very strong NFL quarterback if he does get a chance somewhere. I assume he's going to get a chance somewhere. He's just way too good of a talent not to get looks at the next level. But yeah, I really do think Georgia Tech can score points to cover this 13.5 point spread. Probably the over, probably actually my favorite thing to take here. I just think both. I think it's gonna be a high scoring game. This also could go to overtime. I can also see that being a situation after last year's game. So can Georgia Tech come motivated to play here? I think they do. This is really like their national championship game right now because they're not playing for anything else after this. I think they come ready to play here and put on a solid display here. So let's go ahead and jump into the next game of the day. We're targeting Indiana at Purdue. Man, Indiana 28.5 point favorites, 53.5 point total. This game is being played in prime time, 7:30 p.m. EST. 28.5 points, man. I mean, this still is a rivalry game here. It still is. Indiana, maybe they're looking ahead a little bit. They just want to finish this last game of the season. Maybe they just, come out a little bit flat. I do think Indiana starts a little bit slow in this game. If you want to take like a first half spread, I do think Purdue covers that first half spread. Maybe Indiana turns it on in the second half. Like pours it on there. They probably start to get a little bit, locked in. But in terms of the first half, I think Purdue first half spread, I don't know what you can get that number at. It's probably like 12 and a half, 13 and a half. I mean, I would assume. I don't know what that number would be, but I probably would like that number. I actually think Purdue could probably be leading at halftime. This kind of has that situation kind of feel. I think Ryan Brown can make enough plays through the air. Indiana's defense does have some cracks in it, so I do think Purdue can exploit some of those cracks in the secondary. So I do think Purdue can come out here and play strong, at least for a half. So over 53.5. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to do with the total there. It kind of seems right on point there. If I had a lean here, I'd probably Purdue first half money line or first half spread. So that's my predictions there. DeShawn, what do you got for this one?
Man, does this game not remind you of another team that had to go to Purdue for a night game with this big of a spread? And that was Ohio State. And what happened? Purdue absolutely blitzed them. And it's rivalry week. Uh, it's either go big or go home for me. So I'm going to lean Purdue in the 28.5. I think, Indiana, man, I just don't think they're going to come into this game really prepared. I really don't. I think Purdue can catch them right here. Definitely going to give them all they got. 7:30 night game in front of the fans and stuff like that. Man, it's some wild stuff that happens there at night. I don't know why, but if I'm Indiana, like, this is not it, especially for a night game. I would not want to play this game. So, I probably would bet this. I'm probably going to take a little money and put it on Purdue to outright win the game. Um, just because, why not? Senior day for Purdue, night game against your rival. Why not? It would just be so hilarious. Purdue just outright wins this game, shakes it up, and then, next thing you know, it's freaking Oregon and Michigan in the Big Ten championship game. So I could so see it. But yeah, give me Purdue and in the 28.5. I'd also lead over, because if Purdue were to win this game, they're gonna have to score a lot of points. They're probably gonna have to score in about the 30s to win this game. So I definitely think it goes over. But yeah, give me Purdue in the 28.5, and I'll be putting a little bit on them to win the game outright.
Yeah, just looking at my projections right now for this game, I got this game being a final score Indiana 30, Purdue 20. So I think that could be a realistic kind of situation. Purdue can play. I think the first half, though, is what I'm probably going to be targeting. I think Purdue can definitely at least keep it within one possession by halftime, if not be leading at halftime. So I
Yeah.
do think Indiana probably turns it on a little bit later. They start getting locked in. But I do think Purdue can hang around here and make things a little interesting for this night game here in prime time in West Lafayette. So
I do
that's
want
really
to
the key.
see how much you could probably get Purdue for if you were to take them outright. Like it,
Mm-hmm.
a first half line would probably be about 13 and a half. About 13 and a half, about a clear 14.
Mm-hmm.
But it, yeah, and like I said, I don't expect everyone to just go bet Purdue. Like, no, we just don't do that. If anything, take them in the 28.5 points. But me, I'm just living on the edge, man. And like I said, with these type of games here, you have to throw out records. They do not matter. They do not
Mm-hmm.
matter here. I don't care if you're national championship bound and this team is absolute dirt. It doesn't matter. They're going to give you all they got in these types of games here. So, like I said, I would not be surprised if it gets to like the fourth quarter and like Purdue's leading by like 3 and Indiana's just like home their heels. Like, man, like we're about to lose this freaking game. So yeah, Purdue. It just feels like one of those games, man. I can feel it. I can feel it happening. I just do. And honestly, I think it'll probably be better for Indiana. To maybe lose a game. Be like, okay, cool. We were riding high. We have that loss. Let's lock back in. Every game is do or die now. So I really do think Purdue can get them right here.
Well, that would be one. I'd probably say that'd probably be the upset of the weekend if Purdue was able to beat Indiana here. But we're gonna see how this game plays out. I do think this game is gonna be pretty fun to watch. So definitely tune into this one here on Friday night. So let's go ahead and move along here to the next game up here. We got the big one here. The Battle of Texas, Texas A&M traveling to play at Texas. Texas A&M is 2.5-point favorites, 53.5-point total. This game is being played in prime time as well. Man, this game is going to be exciting. That is to say the least. I think this is a spot here. You're getting Texas at home. They're gonna be raucous. They're gonna be absolutely jam packing the stadium. And I think this could be the game where Arch Manning has his signature moment in college football. I really do think that's going to be the case. I think both teams are going to be scoring points here. So my lean right now would be the over 53.5. Just looking at my projections for this game real quick, I got Texas winning this game 36-34 over Texas A&M. So take the over. That's what my projections are loving here, taking the over. I understand both these defenses have been strong at times, but I just feel like this is this kind of situation where both teams are going to be scoring points. Texas A&M can score points in a hurry. We saw that against South Carolina. I think 2 weeks ago, or was that last week, where they came back 30-3. They were able to come back and just score points in a hurry. So Texas A&M can score points in a hurry. Texas has also shown times this season that they can score points in a hurry. Both of these teams are going to play a full brand of football here. I think both teams get in the 30s, so I really do love the over 53.5. And I do think Texas does win this game minus a 3, minus 2.5. I really do think they can win this. But personally, I would take the over 53.5. Again, I think Arch Manning is going to have his signature moment here at home. The fans are going to be behind him after this game. The fans haven't been liking him here all season. I think this is the moment where he can just turn things around real quick if he come out here and pull off a win and kind of vault Texas into the brink of the college football playoff discussion if they were able to win this game here. So that's my prediction for this one. What do you got here, DeShawn?
And this is where we have to disagree. I like A&M here minus 2.5. I know they're going on the road at Texas, but this is what separates good and great teams. Texas A&M, I think, is a very, very great team. They are great, man. They do a lot of things very, very well. For Texas, like I said, they've been so up and down. They're very inconsistent. I haven't been in love with their defense as of late. Their quarterback play is up and down. Arch Manning can look good one week and then look trash against freaking Marshall. Who knows? I mean, I'm just not the biggest believer in Arch Manning here. And two, I'm not a big believer in that Texas offensive line either. I'm really not. And going up against that Texas A&M defensive line, I think Texas A&M will be able to get a lot of pressure on Arch, force him into some bad decisions. I think Marcel Reed is the better quarterback. I think Texas A&M has a lot of advantages. I think they have the defensive advantage and the offensive advantage. I like the receivers better as well. So, I think Texas A&M can cover that 2.5 here. I'm just looking for the better team, and two, they know what they have to do in this game. They win this game. They're going to the SEC championship game. I think it'll be the first time in school history that they actually go. So, Texas A&M all day here. It's just a complete fade of that Texas offense and defense. We saw what Arkansas did to that Texas defense. And Arkansas is a good offense. Regardless of what their record says, they have a pretty potent offense. And that Texas defense did not look good, man. It didn't. It really, really didn't. So, yeah, give me Texas A&M minus 2.5.
Yeah, that's just another reason why I also like the over here. I mean, both of these defenses have shown this season that they can get scored on quickly, and I just think both of these offenses are going to be capable to score points in this game. So that'd be my lean, is taking the over in this game. I think A&M could win this game, but I also think this is kind of a toss-up. I think this spread is right on line here, like my projections reflect. So I think the over is definitely the play here in this game. So let's go ahead and jump into the next game here. We got number 25, Arizona, taking on number 20, Arizona State. This game is being played at Arizona State. Arizona is favored by 1.5 here, 48.5-point total with a 9 p.m. primetime game once again. Another big rivalry game here, Battle of Arizona. And, man, this is a pick'em game. It really is. My projections also reflect that. You can't even make this up. My projection, I got Arizona State to score 29 points. I got Arizona to score 28 points. So my projections reflect the spread right on line here. So if you want to take the over here, that would probably be the play. But again, Arizona State doesn't have Sam Levitt out there. Jeff Sims is going to be the quarterback once again. And I do think that Jeff Sims has looked okay in the times that he's played. He hasn't looked terrible. I mean, he's running the offense like they normally would, but he's not going to make some of those crazy plays that Sam Levitt would. But Arizona, they got the experienced quarterback and Noah Fafita. Usually you like taking the experienced guys in this spot, but I mean, this truly is going to be a pretty tight game. It's going to be right down to the wire, I think. I think over 48.5 points. I think the over is definitely the play here. Both of these teams have talent on their rosters on offense. They can score. They both have, pretty suspect defenses. I just think 48.5 points is really, really too low for this kind of game. So over 48.5 is the lean I have here. DeShawn, what do you have here?
Yeah, I'm not really too in love with this game. Like I said, I think this game should be a pick 'em for a reason because I'm definitely on the fence. I could see both teams winning this game. Arizona's been playing probably, other than Texas Tech, probably the best football in the Big 12 as of late. They are on a heater right now. Ain't nobody stopping Arizona right now, but Arizona State at home, I'm just gonna go with the home team here. I'll take the better odds with them. They're at home. They're in front of their 2000 senior day. Why not? I think Jeff Sims can do just enough, and I think Arizona State's defense would be key in this game to stop Noah Fafita for Arizona. So yeah, like I said, not really too in love with this game, but if I had to pick a side, I'd probably lean Arizona State.
Yeah, I don't really have a lean on who's going to win this game either, but I really do like the total over 48.5. I think this game could definitely go to overtime with this game being with a 1.5 point spread, and my projections also reflect that it's going to be down the wire as well. So over is the play for me for this game. So let's go ahead and move on to the next game here. We're on a Saturday now. Big noon Saturday. Here we go. It's the game. Number 1 Ohio State taking on Michigan. This game is being played at Michigan. Ohio State, 9.5 point favorites right now. I don't know if it's gotten any lower than that or any higher. The spread's been moving like ever since the spread first came out. I believe when it first came out, I think Ohio State was like 12.5 point favorites or 13.5 point favorites. Everybody's jumping on Michigan. 43.5 point total. And man, we already know the history here with this rivalry here over the last, I think 4 or 5 years, I believe. Michigan has beat them like 5 in a row, I believe. I don't know, DeShawn, do you remember the number at all?
I think it's 4.
Four in a row from Michigan. I mean, this has been the narrative behind Ohio State football over the last, few years. They can beat everybody except Michigan. Now they got to play at Michigan here. Man, if I had to pick a side here, it'd probably be the under 43.5, just because I just don't know what teams we're going to get here. I don't really trust Michigan offense, but I mean, again, they just seem to play very well against Ohio State. And Ohio State, usually always has a better team than Michigan. They just can't seem to play a full brand of football when they play Michigan. 43.5. My projections are right on for this game. I got this being what is it, 20? Yeah, I got this total being at 40 right now. So I would probably lean the under here, but again, I'd probably stay away from picking this game. I mean, I would love to pick it just because it's such a big game, but I mean, I just don't really know if I have a lean here on who's going to, come out here on top. I mean, I think Ohio State can definitely lay it on them if I had to just pick personal preference. Will I play that? Probably not, just because of the series history over the last few years. Ohio State has far and away much more talent than Michigan does. And Michigan's offense isn't a high-scoring offense at all. Bryce Underwood, he's starting to make some bigger plays through the air recently, but now you got to play Ohio State. How is he gonna fare here in this matchup? I don't really have a strong lean here in this one. It sucks because I really do want to have something on this game, but I'm gonna be tuned in. That's for sure. It's definitely a must-watch game. It always is. But I'd probably stay away from this game. I was betting it. DeShawn, do you have any strong leans on this one?
Oh yeah, Oh yeah, definitely have a strong lean on this game. It's I'm gonna put it to you like this: Ohio State's just gonna have to show me. They're just gonna have to show me because I mean, you just can't get it done. So give me Michigan in the 9.5. I'm also on the under 43.5. I do think this will be a gritty defensive game. But if I'm on Michigan plus a 9.5, you know where I'm gonna go with this. Give me Michigan outright win the game at home. I think they make it 5 in a row. Like I said, Ohio State, they have far beyond better teams than Michigan. And for some odd reason, just they do not show up year in and year out. Doesn't matter where the game is. They do not show up when they play Michigan. It does not matter. And on top of that, I heard that the weather in Ann Arbor is supposed to favor Michigan. Cold game, maybe some snow here. Man, I think Michigan gets them here, and helps out my Ducks getting to the Big Ten championship game. So yeah, give me Michigan here, plus a 9.5. Give me the under. Like I said, I think this is going to be a very defensive game. I think Julian Sand will have trouble. I definitely think Bryce Underwood will have trouble as well. But I think Michigan pulls it out. I think they probably win this game. Maybe shit, man. Who knows? Maybe a 21-17 type game for Michigan. So yeah, give me Michigan all day. Just a complete fade of Ohio State here. Like I said, if Ohio State wins this game, cool. You finally got one. If not, I'm gonna be screaming, I told you so. So yeah, give me Michigan outright money line.
Yeah, I just feel like Ohio State's kind of due to have just a put it on them game here, and there's no better time to do it here than playing at Michigan when you got all their fans there to witness the beatdown that Ohio State can put on them because they're definitely capable of doing it. It's just can they do it in this game? Can they do it? I don't know.
No.
Also, their wide receivers. I don't know if they're going to be fully healthy. I mean, I know Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate have been dealing with some injuries. I don't know how serious it is. I don't know if they're just resting it just because they're playing, inferior opponents. That's something to look into. I mean, I don't know if they're fully healthy. Again, if there's weather.
Do you think that with their injuries and stuff like that, do you think that they risk them playing in this game, especially with the potential weather conditions?
I think if they play, it might be limited a little bit, like they have been. Like I think Jeremiah Smith, I think he only played like one half against UCLA a couple weeks ago. Carnell Tate, I don't think he played last game.
No, I don't think he did.
Yeah, so I don't know what the injury situation is. I mean, again, college, you don't usually get injury news. You don't really publicly announce what's going on with certain players. So it's kind of one of those. It's kind of interesting. Again, I don't know exactly what the weather situation is going to be. That could definitely be something to watch because Ohio State's rushing game isn't their strong suit. So, and Michigan has a pretty good rushing defense. So again, I think the under is definitely the play that I would take here if I had to pick one. My projections also reflect that. I got this being a 21-17 projected score, just like DeShawn just said. So my projections are right on line with that. My projections are right on line with that. So I think the under is definitely the play. But again, if Ohio State, they're definitely capable of putting it on them here. But it should be another interesting kind of game to watch here for sure. So let's go ahead and jump into the next game up here. Number 5, Texas Tech taking on West Virginia. Texas Tech is 23.5-point favorites, 52.5-point total. This game's being played at noon Eastern. Man, 23.5 points at West Virginia. Right now, this West Virginia team is not your West Virginia team that you saw at the beginning of the season. They're playing a lot better of football. They're playing a little bit inspired. I feel like they're trying to get some culture built in that program. And I think this is a spot here that West Virginia has to come out here and play pretty solid. I think Texas Tech's going to be looking ahead a little bit into like the championship games. This kind of feels like the Indiana and Purdue game for this Friday. It kind of feels similar to that. I do think West Virginia could play tough, at least for a half. Maybe Texas Tech puts it on them in the second half, or West Virginia is able to have like a little backdoor cover. But I just think there's a spot here. You're catching this West Virginia team that is looking to have one of those signature wins that they can take into next season this could be one of those, building block type of performances if they are able to pull it off. I don't know if they're able to pull off the win, but 23.5 points right now. This game is also being played at noon. I wish this game was being played at night because I feel like West Virginia would definitely play a little bit better in prime time. But noon Eastern, I'd probably take first half spread. It'll probably be like 9.5, 10.5. That'd probably be what I would take. I think West Virginia is able to play close for a half here. Maybe Texas Tech's able to put it on them in the second half. But yeah, I do like the way this West Virginia football team has been playing recently. So I do like West Virginia here in this spot here. DeShawn, what do you have?
Yeah, real fast in this game too. Give me Texas Tech in the 23.5. I think this is going to be a spanking, man. It's just Texas Tech is just that good. They're just that good. And Texas Tech, with the way that they're treating the Big 12 as of now, I think Texas Tech cannot afford any slip-ups right now. I just really don't think they can afford it. So I think they're going to continue to do what they do, and which is beat up on bad teams and beat up on decently good teams. And they're going to beat up on West Virginia right here. Yeah, I know it's a Morgantown senior day, against your rival. Like I said, it's a noon game, so Texas Tech is going to wear them out. I mean, I kind of like the over because, it obviously, if I think Texas Tech is going to cover that spread, I think Texas Tech can get into the 40s. And I do think West Virginia will be able to score on Texas Tech. Don't get me wrong. I do think they will be able to score. So, yeah, definitely lean over 52.5. But, yeah, I think Texas Tech, just wears them out. They want to get this game over with. Like I said, the talent disparity between these two teams is just so large. It's insane. So, yeah, I think they clamp down on West Virginia, show them, like, listen, we're still the big dogs of the conference. You are the little dogs. So, yeah, give me Texas Tech in a blowout.
Yeah, I mean, not much to say about this one. I do like the over shout. I do think the over definitely could be a play. I think Texas Tech's easily going to be able to score 35 plus points in this game. I think West Virginia can score at least 18, so
yep.
It could be close on the over, but I think West Virginia can at least cover 23.5 here. If not first half cover, maybe Texas Tech blows them out in the second half. But yeah, that's my link for this game here. So let's go ahead and move on to the next game up here. Number 12, Miami, taking on number 22, Pitt. This game is being played in Pittsburgh. Miami is 6.5-point favorites here, 49.5-point total. This game is being played at noon Eastern. So, interesting kind of game here. I mean, Pat Narduzzi, he wasn't wrong with what he said in that press conference a couple weeks ago. When they played Notre Dame, he said he didn't care about that Notre Dame game. He just wants to care about the ACC games. Well, Pitt with a win in this game can go to the ACC championship game. And you're playing a Miami team that is just on – I think they're like the first team out of the college football playoff right now. They're going to need some things to go their way if Miami wants to get into the playoffs. I mean, this is a Pitt team that's just playing really good football right now in the ACC. Miami playing on the road. I don't like Miami on the road. I really don't. I hate taking Pitt. I hate Pitt. But I think this is a spot where Mason Heichel is going to make some plays here. And again, Miami, this just kind of feels like the SMU game where Miami lost to SMU. It's just a similar kind of situation here. Give me Pitt, man. Give me Pitt on the win. Give me Pitt on the money line. Carson Beck's going to have his, last college game here and in a disaster. So, yeah, I think it's the Mario Cristobal failure. Once again, Miami's not going to be able to make the playoffs. Yeah. And I just want Pitt to be good so Penn State can play them in that pinstripe bowl. So give me Pitt. Give me Pitt to be good, and then Penn State can beat them in the pinstripe bowl. So give me Pitt here or the over. If you want, I think the over is also in play. I think Pitt could score upwards. Let's see. I got projected score 27 points. So, and Miami got them at 24. So I got Pitt winning 27-24 here. Yeah, give me Pitt. Give me Pitt over the over. Either one here. That's my lean here for this one.
Yeah, I'm on the same side here. I'll take Pitt plus 6.5. You just can't trust Miami in these spots right here. I mean, how can you? I mean, they just showed you year in and year out that they just cannot get it done in these big games, especially on the road here. And what Pitt showed me going on the road at Georgia Tech is, like you said, they're gonna absolutely go sweat mode in these last two ACC games, and they did. They clamped down on Georgia Tech, and I honestly think they're playing a more. I wouldn't put it as like an easier offense because like Carson Beck isn't as mobile and doesn't really pose a threat like Haynes King would. So Pitt will be able to, back off a little bit. They really don't have to worry about like the QB reads, the QB draws, and stuff like that. They can kind of play more coverage, play a little softer. So yeah, I like Pitt here. I'll probably also as well take Pitt on the money line here. It's just like I said, Narduzzi has that team fired up, man. And they're on a warpath, and I don't want to play them. And I think I think this is the game where Mario Cristobal unfortunately gets fired after this loss. I think he's done after the game. Another disappointing season that fell in the remaining 2-3 weeks, just collapsed. And I think Miami's done with it. So yeah, I think Mario Cristobal gets fired after this game. So yeah, give me Pitt money line and plus 6.5.
Yep, I just want Pitt to win this game. I want them to actually win the ACC championship and see what happens there. I don't know.
No.
I don't know if that
the ACC winner will be on this slideshow once we get to them. It will not fit.
However we can get Pitt to play Penn State in a bowl game, that's what I want to happen, just so we can beat the ever-living crap out of Pitt in the bowl game. Just because we own Pitt can't touch us in any football game. So they want to call us rivalries. We destroy Pitt. So that's my strong Pitt rant there. Even though I'm taking Pitt to win this game, that's my strong Pitt rant there. But yeah, I think Mario Cristobal, this could be the end of his era if he loses this game. So we'll see what happens here in this game. Should be another fun one to watch. So let's go ahead and move on to the next game up here. UCF taking on BYU. This is going to be a quick one here. Man, give me BYU my 17.5. I don't even have to talk about this game. I mean, UCF's just such a bad team. I don't even know if they're going to score any points in this game. My projections actually have them a little bit generous here, but I got BYU in this game 33-12. So give me BYU, cover the spread at least. I mean, I think that's generous giving UCF 12 points there. I don't even know if they're going to give her 10, to be quite honest. Yeah, give me BYU here. Nothing else to say. Taven Jackson's terrible quarterback for UCF, just because he screwed me over in some of the player props earlier this year. So, yeah, give me BYU here in this spot here. What do you got, DeShawn?
Yeah, this is gonna be pretty quick for me too, man. Give me BYU, man. This is gonna get ugly. Good Lord. I mean, BYU knows what they need to do. Winning in, simple as that. And also, they're one of those teams that's, first team out. They need to win convincingly. Honestly, shit, man. This may be like, you're talking about your model being generous. I'm not so generous. I might take UCF team total under. I don't even care. Like, how does UCF score here? How do they score? I mean, yeah. Honestly, okay, let's put it this way. I think BYU can almost hit that total by themselves. I think they score in the 40s here. So, yeah, give me BYU minus 17.5. I would even be tempted to take an alt spread for BYU. I just think that they're that good, and UCF is just that bad. UCF does not play good on the road. They play their best football at the bounce house. This is just not a good spot for them here. So, yeah, BYU going to blow the doors off UCF.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing UCF's playing for anymore this year. I mean, they're terrible. And you're playing BYU here at home. BYU needs to win this game convincingly. Yeah. I think they can easily win this game by 3 touchdowns. So if you want to take an alt spread, I think that's a good shout there by DeShawn. So, yeah, BYU all day here in this one. It's going to be a disaster of a game here for UCF. So let's go ahead and move on to the next game up here. Here we go. It's DeShawn's number 6 Oregon Ducks traveling taking on Washington here. Oregon is 6.5-point favorites, 50.5-point total. And man, I really do think this Washington team is pretty good. I really do think they have a good, solid group of guys in there. But Oregon has been looking really impressive over their last couple of games, taking on some pretty solid teams in Iowa and USC, and were able to win those games in different kind of fashions. Oregon, I give them credit; they can win games in multiple different ways. If they want to play a physical game, Oregon showed that they can do that against Iowa. If they want to play a high-scoring game, they showed they could do that against USC. I think Washington is kind of a mix of both Iowa and USC. Washington can play a little bit physical, but they also can play high scoring. So I do think 50.5 total is probably what I'll take the over here. I think Washington's able to score at least 21 points in this game. I think Oregon scored like 28. So, and I think there's definitely room to go upwards in there. It's like my projection right now has Oregon winning this game 28-25. So if you want to take Washington plus 6.5, I think that's in play. But I think the over would probably be the play for me. I think both these teams are going to be able to score. And again, with this game being played in Washington, I think Washington's able to score a little bit easier. But I do think Oregon's shown a lot to me over these last couple of games that they are a pretty solid team. So I do think Oregon's able to win this game, but I don't know if they're able to cover the 6.5 points. So if I had to pick a side here, it'd be Washington plus 6.5 or the over 50.5 total. But I do think Oregon does win this game. So DeShawn, don't hate me. I do think Oregon's gonna win this game, but I do think Washington can't cover the 6.5 here. So what do you got, DeShawn?
Yeah, I don't hate you for that because, other than last year, we've really struggled with Washington. So, I'm not opposed to people picking Washington here. I'm really not. But this game here is really giving me, the Indiana Oregon vibe. I think Washington has a similar team to Indiana. And with Washington, every time they've had to play upper echelon competition in the Big Ten, that's where they got their worst performances. They played Ohio State at home. They did not look good at all. They played Michigan on the road. They got blown out like really badly. DeMond Williams did not look good. I think he threw 3 interceptions. So I think this can be another one of those games here to where, we get the best of Williams. We faced him last year. I think that also plays in our favor. We know what he wants to do. He's a dual threat quarterback. He does have, tall, lengthy receivers on that outside, and he's definitely going to want to attack our freshman corners. But I think that we can force him into a couple of mistakes here. Like I said, we can win in multiple ways, running the ball, grind it out, physical game. We can win that way. And we can put a lot of points on your head. It's just as simple as that. So I think we are the way more consistent team here. We know what's at stake here. Definitely want to beat Washington. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if this is like a 3-point win for us just because we really don't play Washington too well. We just don't. And honestly, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't, scared about this game. I'm terrified just because of the name itself. But like I said, I do think we come out on top. It just depends on what performance we're going to be able to put out there. We have one of the top passing defenses in the country. We can also stop the run. Washington does have a good running back as well. And Washington does have an underrated run defense. It is very underrated. But I think if we make this game like a passing battle type game like we did against USC, I think we'd probably blow them out here. So I think that's what we'll probably do. So yeah, I'll lean Oregon and the 6.5. In terms of the total, like I said, I do think both of us will be able to have success scoring wise. So yeah, I'd probably lean towards the over. But yeah, Oregon wins the game. We're going to the Big Ten championship game to get a rematch against Indiana or Michigan. If you're Well, based on my predictions, we're going to be playing Michigan, and we're going to beat the brakes off of them. So yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how this one shakes out. I mean, what Washington team are we gonna get? Are we gonna get the team that they played Ohio State earlier in the year? They were in that game at halftime. It was 7-3 at halftime. Ohio State was up in that game earlier this year. But Washington was moving the ball in that game. They just couldn't seem to find the end zone. So we'll see if Washington can score some points here. I do think Washington's going to be able to score. And again, they're looking for a signature win as well. Maybe they could win this one. We'll see. I do think it'll be close. I do think Oregon's able, because Oregon's just been so battle tested this year in some big road games, specifically against my Penn State Nittany Lions in the whiteout. In a kind of a crazy game that was. I mean, say all you want about Penn State, they were still a top 5 team, top 10 team at that time. So they were still had national championship aspirations at that time, even though it didn't really pan out that way as the season gone on. But that was a game where Oregon was up 17-3. Oregon was like, we're cruising, and boom, Penn State starts racking up big touchdowns and ends up tying the game here to go to overtime. And then Oregon was able to, lock back in. Let's play Oregon football. And they were able to pull it out, the victory in double overtime. So that game showed me a lot about Oregon, their ability to play on the road. Also, the game at Iowa, another one, kind of similar. They were able to pull it out somehow. It didn't look like they were going to be able to pull it out, but they were able to pull it out. So I think this is going to be a similar type of game. I think it's going to be a close game. But I think this game does plead a little bit high scoring. So I do think this could be like a 28-25-ish kind of score for Oregon to win. So I do think Oregon's able to cover here in this game. So let's go ahead and jump into the next one here. LSU taking on Oklahoma. Man, gonna be real quick on this one. LSU, no Garrett Nussmeier. I mean, their team's done. I don't really see anything that they're working for in this game. Oklahoma, they had everything to play for in this game. So give me them at 10.5 here. They're at home. 36.5 point total. So I mean, they're not really projecting LSU to score really much points at all. It's being played at 3:30. It's gonna be a pretty terrible game to watch. I think Oklahoma, while their offense doesn't scream high scoring, their defense is what makes up for their offense's lack of scoring. Their defense is definitely very good at causing turnovers, and I think Van Buren, who's going to be quarterback for LSU here, he's going to be a little flustered. He's not going to have an easy time at all moving the ball. I just think this is a spot here where Oklahoma's able to win pretty convincingly. So give me Oklahoma here, minus the 10.5 if I had to pick one. So that's my lean there. DeShawn, what do you have?
Yeah, same here. I probably won't even be watching this game, honestly, but that's probably one of the lowest totals I've ever seen, except for an Academy game. So definitely not a lot of scoring here. But as you alluded to, OU's defense is definitely going to win the day here. I think they can put OU's offense in a bunch of short field situations to where they can get easy points. So yeah, I'd probably also lean Oklahoma minus 10.5. Like I said, I'm not really too in love with Oklahoma's offense, but I do think, like I said, from the short field, advantages they're going to have, I think Oklahoma can get over that. So yeah, Oklahoma minus 10.5 for me.
Yeah, my projection has Oklahoma win this game 24-10. So yeah, they're not really expecting LSU to score much. And I don't think Oklahoma doesn't have like that crazy offense to score, so it's kind of a little bit of a risk because Oklahoma doesn't really like score tons of points. But I do think 10.5. They're able to cover that here at home in a must-win game for them to stay in that playoff discussion. So let's go ahead and move on to the next game up here. We got number 14 Vanderbilt taking on number 19 Tennessee. Big battle here of Tennessee. Tennessee, they are favored by 3.5. 65.5 point total here. Absolutely insane game here. Man, I don't know if Vanderbilt's gonna have enough to get to playoffs discussions. I mean, I don't know what that's going to entail. They're going to need a lot of help. They're going to need some craziness to happen. They're going to need some like Oklahoma's to lose. They're going to need Miami to lose. They're going to need everybody in front of them to lose games, I think, for Vanderbilt to get into the playoffs. And I just don't see that happening. But in terms of a rivalry type of situation here, man, I mean, it's gonna be an interesting kind of game. I don't really know how this game's going to play. I mean, I just think Diego Pavia can come out here and play tough, but I mean, this game just feels right on line for me. I don't really know if I have an edge anywhere. DeShawn, you can talk about this game while I plug in my projections for this.
Yeah, so that's a really, really high total of 65.5. I do think that both of these offenses will be able to have success, but I do think that Diego Pavia will be the difference. So I'll take Vanderbilt in the 3.5 here. It's just me banking on, Vanderbilt's offense to be more tricky to stop in terms of, QB runs and stuff like that. Tennessee's going to have, they're going to have to give it their all this game, and I think with Vanderbilt, I do know, with me, I do have a couple teams losing ahead of them. So I do think Vanderbilt will probably end up being like one of those first teams out, especially if they do win this game here. But yeah, I'll take Vanderbilt to cover 3.5, get over a field goal. So yeah, I like Vanderbilt.
Yeah, so my projections I just plugged in here. I have this game being Tennessee winning this game 30-29. So my projections right on line here. If you want to take Vanderbilt to cover 3.5, I think they can do it. Or if you want to take the under 65.5, I just think that's a little bit too high of a number. I mean, Vanderbilt does play a little bit slower at times. I mean, they run the ball a lot, so the clock's been running a lot. Even though they do put up a lot of points sometimes. I think the under 65.5 is probably the lean I would go to here. But if you want to take Vanderbilt plus 3.5 or the money line, it's a pick 'em game on my end. But I think Vanderbilt and Tennessee are going to play a little bit better defense in this game. With it being a rivalry type of game, I think the defenses are definitely turned up here. Also, this game is played at Tennessee. Very tough place to play at for the opposing team. So I don't know if the points are going to be just electric like that. So I'd probably take the under 65.5 here for my projection. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one here. Here we go. Penn State taking on Rutgers. Penn State's 13.5-point favorites, 55.5-point total. Penn State and Rutgers, they both have 5 wins. So the winner of this game will go to a bowl game. And I'm telling you right now, the way Penn State's been playing, the way Penn State's been talking, they want that bowl game. They want it. That's what they're playing for. Did I want that to be the case at the start of the year? No, I wanted to be saying that we're ready to go for a national championship at this time of year. But things just didn't turn out that way. I just think there's a spot here where we have Nicholas Singleton, who is 1 touchdown away from breaking the program record for most touchdowns in franchise history. He's tied with Saquon Barkley right now. He just needs 1 more. He almost got it last week against Nebraska. I was actually at that game. That's where I was at during my break. I went to the Penn State-Nebraska football game where I got to witness Katron Allen break the franchise record for most rushing yards. So the running backs, they're breaking franchise records. And I think this is a situation where Nick Singleton, I'm going to be all over his player props for Saturday. I can tell you that much. He's going to be scoring a touchdown. Hell or high water. He will score a touchdown to get that franchise record. They were already talking about it in the press conference. He's going to score a touchdown against Rutgers. It's just going to happen. 100%. Put all your money you have on Nicholas Singleton to score a touchdown. I mean, there's just no way he doesn't score a touchdown in this game. Against an inferior Rutgers team. Again, Rutgers isn't a good team. I think Penn State, the way they've been playing over the last couple of weeks, they've been playing they've been playing Penn State football, just to be quite frankly. I mean, they beat up on Michigan State, just killed Nebraska last week at that game. Watching that game live in person, that was like the Penn State team that we were expecting to see all year. But this is the right time to be playing this way. We want that bowl game. We want Pitt. That's what we want. We want Pitt in the Pinstripe Bowl. That's what I'm playing for. Beating Rutgers here by 13.5 points, I think is clear and obvious the easy pick here. So Rutgers, I don't really expect them to come out here and do anything. Penn State wants to win this game, and if they want to win with that talent that they have on their roster, they're going to go out there and put it on them. So give me Penn State minus 13.5 here. Let's go to the Pinstripe Bowl and beat Pitt.
Man, I'm over here trying to look for if they have anything on him scoring a touchdown anytime for him, and I'm not seeing it on FanDuel. Who knows? I'll probably have to look at one of my other books, but I will probably definitely be on that as well. But yeah, Rutgers is on the do not bet list for me, especially after that showing at Ohio State. I thought that was a prime spot to take Rutgers in their offense on the road, especially with, Ohio State missing a bunch of their weapons and they still don't cover. That's all I needed to see. Rutgers is ass. Give me Penn State by a million. I don't care. They like I said, they really want to win this game. They really want to win this game for their interim head coach. They want to make a bowl. It's just a lot of things are pointing into Penn State, covering this 13 and a half. Do I think Rutgers can score? Yes. Rutgers actually has an underrated offense. They have really good receivers. Calais McManus isn't the greatest quarterback, but he can get it done sometimes. But yeah, I just think Penn State is just too much for Rutgers here. I honestly think you guys run it up as well. So yeah, it's going to be really, really fun in Happy Valley. So yeah, give me Penn State minus 13 and a half.
Yeah, and in terms of the coach, Terry Smith, interim head coach, there was some, crazy vibes in that stadium there against Nebraska. You had the whole crowd, rallying behind Terry. They were chanting his name in the crowd. I wouldn't be against giving Terry Smith a 1-year contract to see what he can do next year. Just because some of these candidates out there, I'm not really, loving, some of these candidates that are being mentioned for the Penn State job. And if you just hire Terry Smith, he's a Penn State guy. He's been in the program for he is. He was hired by James Franklin, so I guess you're just hiring James Franklin backup. I guess that could be a downside. But I mean, if you hire Terry Smith, you're gonna be able to keep most of that roster intact for next season that people that want to stay for next year. Also, maybe some of the recruits that decommitted might come back just because they want to play for Penn State. Penn State's a big school. Who wouldn't want to play for Penn State? And I think giving Terry Smith a 1-year contract just to see what he can do, I wouldn't be against it. I mean, he's shown over these last couple of games that the players are rallying behind him. They want to win for Terry. So I think this is a spot here where they're going to go out here and play Penn State football like they have been doing over the last couple of games. I mean, we were just one play away from beating Indiana. We were in the game against Ohio State for a half, but again, second half play calling was just disaster. The one dude I want gone from this Penn State team is the offensive coordinator. He's been our downside all year. Anthony Kotelnicki, terrible offensive coordinator. Some of the worst play calling I've ever seen. He needs to be the guy to go. In my opinion, he should have been the one fired before James Franklin. But yeah, I mean, that's my Terry Smith rant there. I do think I liked what I saw out of him. I like some of his speeches that he's gave in the locker room. The players seem to have responded well to him. Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to giving him a 1-year contract to see what he can do next year. And yeah, maybe just wait and see what other candidates. Because I was a Matt Rule guy. I was hoping we would get Matt Rule. He was my top candidate for Penn State. But after what I saw in that Nebraska game last week, some stupid coaching decisions from Matt Rule. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what he was doing there with some of those coaching decisions he was doing, but they were pretty alarming what he was calling out there. But yeah, I don't really like some of these candidates out there. I mean, I want Brian Hartline if that's going to be the guy from Ohio State. He'd probably be my number one coaching candidate right now. But some of these other guys, I don't really know if I would take over Terry Smith at this moment. So that's my Penn State rant for the time here. So let's go ahead and move on to the next game here. We got the big Battle of Virginia. Virginia Tech taking on number 18 Virginia. Virginia, 8.5-point favorites, 53.5-point total. Game is being played in prime time. Speaking of James Franklin, Virginia Tech just hired James Franklin as their next head coach, and I think that's a great hire for Virginia Tech. I really do. I think Virginia Tech is going to be easily relevant in the ACC conference. Virginia Tech should easily be able to get 8 wins now a season with James Franklin as their head coach. I think this is a perfect conference for James Franklin because you don't have to worry about really top teams anymore. You don't have to worry about Ohio State. You don't have to worry about Michigan. You don't worry about Oregon anymore. You have to worry about Miami. I mean, we already know Miami's got Clemson. I mean, they're shambles. So I think James Franklin's going to have definitely some good success in this conference. But in terms of this game here, Virginia Tech doesn't really have anything to play for. Virginia has everything to play for. A win for Virginia, and they're in the ACC championship game. I really do like Chandler Morris here as long as he's healthy. I know he had an injury against Wake Forest, I believe, the game that they lost. He didn't play in the second half of that game, but yeah, I think Virginia's going to come out here and late on Virginia Tech. They're at Virginia, so I do think Virginia 8.5 is a good spot here, assuming Chandler Morris is able to play his normal brand of football. Yeah, so I do like Virginia here. Big season for Virginia. Again, I think they finish out here and finish strong, and win this game. So give me Virginia minus the 8.5 here. DeShawn, what do you have?
Yeah, I'm not too in love with this game. Actually, if you look at history, Virginia Tech actually owns Virginia. So, I wouldn't be mad at a Virginia Tech plus 8.5. You're getting over a touchdown here. But, I'm just going to put my faith in Virginia. Like I said, I can't bet this game anyway. Wouldn't bet it. I wouldn't bet it regardless. But, yeah, I'll lean Virginia minus 8.5. I think, with everything at stake here, they can really do something special here. So yeah, I'll take them in at 8.5. And little side note, Virginia is actually my ACC champion pick. So yeah, I got Virginia winning the ACC, going to the college football playoff.
Yeah, I mean Virginia's always been like a kind of just like an average, below average team in the ACC, like over the last few years. And again, Virginia Tech has had some great success against Virginia recently as well. But I think there's a spot here. The tables have turned. Virginia is now the favorite team to win. Virginia Tech isn't supposed to win. And my projection for this game has Virginia winning 30-18. So I like Virginia here at home. I think they are able to make enough plays and win this game. So I really do like this spot here for Virginia to go to the ACC championship here. And no better way to do it with closing it out against your rival Virginia Tech. So let's go ahead and move on to the next game up here. We got the Iron Bowl, number 10 Alabama at Auburn. This game is being played in prime time. Watch out. Alabama 6.5-point favorites, 46.5-point total. And man, I'm just gonna throw this thing out here. Some rumors that I've been hearing over the last couple days, really last couple weeks. Kalen DeBoer, a sneaky candidate for the next Penn State head coaching job. So, I mean, if Alabama does lose this game, I do think DeBoer is going to be out of there. And man, if he goes to Penn State, I mean, that's not going to make me insane because I mean, I guess it would be okay. I'd be okay with it. But in this spot here against Auburn very good at home, and 6.5-point spread. That's a very low kind of spread here for this kind of spot. So it's kind of interesting. Auburn plays really, really good at home, and this game is being played at night. So, I mean, if you want to take the over 46.5, my total is right on line here. I got Alabama winning 26-20. So it's right on line here, my projections. I think Auburn can cover the spread. I think Alabama, if they lose this game, they're going to be out of the playoffs, and DeBoer is going to be gone. I mean, the fans don't like him already. That's another reason why DeBoer, I think, is going to be on the move because the fans don't like him. Alabama, they expect greatness every year, no matter what. So I think there's a spot. Auburn, they're going to play motivated here, even though their season's kind of done. Yeah, I just think Auburn here in this spot here, rivalry game at prime time. Too much pressure is going to be on Alabama here. Auburn's got nothing to play for. They're going to play with their hair on fire in this game here to knock Alabama out of their playoffs. It's just have some bragging rights on them. If they beat Alabama here, knocking them out of the playoffs, man, Auburn's going to have a lot to talk about here against Alabama for years to come. They're going to have that to say if they can have that on their shoulders, really spoiling Alabama's playoff chances in this game. So I do like Auburn here, plus 6.5 or money line if you want to go to that route. DeShawn, what do you have?
My main lean would be the under 46.5. I think both defenses will play well. Like you said, Auburn plays their best football at home. And two, Auburn's defense hasn't really been that bad, honestly. They really haven't. If you look at Auburn's games, like if they can just flip a couple of those one possession losses, man, this Auburn team will be pretty damn good. Only thing about it is they're starting a true freshman Deuce Knight. And this is a huge game. I don't know if he's ready. I really don't. I mean, you can say what you want. He went stupid, dummy, crazy against Mercer? Okay. Like, that's what he's supposed to do. This is a whole different animal right here. This game means something. Crowd's going to be rocking here. Like I said, I like both of these defenses to come alive here. And, I like the under, so I'd probably lean Auburn plus the 6.5. I think they do just enough to be able to cover the number, but I'm just not fully sure if they win the game.
Yeah, I just think there's gonna be too much pressure on Alabama here. I just feel like the pressure is gonna be a little bit too tight, and make some turnovers. Auburn's able to make some turnovers. I think if Auburn's able to get 2 or 3 turnovers in this game, they should easily be able to cover 6.5. So I'm looking for Auburn's defense to step up here against Alabama and make it tough on them scoring wise. So should be an interesting game to watch. The Iron Bowl is always like one of the top rivalries in college football. So
Yeah.
we're gonna see how that game turns out. So let's go ahead and move on to the next. You guys, anything else?
Bama can't run the football either.
Mm.
They just can't run the ball. So, if I think Auburn can win this game if they, if they take away the run, not allow Alabama to run the ball, make them one-dimensional. Because, like I said, I mean, if you've seen Alabama's pass offense, it's been very mid this year. Very, very mid. Ryan Williams hasn't really been the same. I don't know. It's just, yeah, I just lean Auburn in the under. Man.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be a fun game to watch for sure. So let's go ahead and move on to the next game here. We got the big California rivalry here. UCLA taking on number 17 USC. USC's favored by 21.5 points, 58.5 point total. Games being played in prime time at the Coliseum. And USC, they're kind of done now after that loss to Oregon. They're kind of any hopes they had of making the playoff are done. Yeah, I mean it's the UCLA team that's also done now. They had that big win against Penn State, had that big win against Michigan State, and they really haven't done it since. So Nico Iamaleava, I don't know if his health is going to be a factor here. I know he missed the game against Ohio State. He did play last week against Washington, and yeah, they didn't play very well in that game. Washington blew the brakes off them. Yeah, I just think this is a spot here. USC is going to be able to win this pretty convincingly. I'll probably take the under 58.5 right now because I have USC winning 35-17 right now. Again, if you want to take UCLA plus 21.5, I guess it wouldn't be crazy to think about, but I do think the under 58.5 is going to be a play for me here. It just feels like a little bit too high of a number. And yeah, I don't know if UCLA is going to be able to score much points because I don't know if Nico is going to be healthy enough to score points for UCLA here. So I'm taking the under 58.5 here if I had to pick one. That'd be my lean here for this pick. DeShawn, what do you have?
Yeah, I'm gonna be pretty quick on this one. Give me USC minus the 21.5. I think they're head and shoulders the better football team. Playing at home, UCLA is not good. They're not good. Like I said, they had that one stretch of glory. And now it's done. And you can see it when Washington comes into your house and blows your doors off. I think, you're getting an even more high-powered offense and a similar defense. So, yeah, give me 21.5. I think this game might be over by halftime.
Yeah, I mean, it's a rivalry game, so you never know what's going to happen. But I do think USC can definitely win this pretty convincingly. And I do think the under is probably the play I would play personally in this game. So let's go ahead and move on to the next game up here. We got a terrible game here. Charlotte at number 24, Tulane. Tulane, 30.5 point favorites, 52.5 point total. Charlotte is probably like one of the worst teams I've ever watched playing football this year. Just throwing that out there. they're going through like I don't know what quarterback they're going to start this week, but I mean they've been having like 3 quarterbacks every week. I don't know which one they're going to throw out there this week. They have Loftus, Grayson Loftus, who used to be the Duke quarterback a while ago, and they threw out what Zach Wilkie out. He was a former I think Oklahoma State quarterback. Um, I forget who their main quarterback was, but I think he got hurt at the beginning of the season. So I mean that's when Charlotte's just been downhill ever since that happened. I mean, I probably wouldn't even play this game, but I mean, if I had to pick a side, it'd probably be Tulane minus 30.5, just because they're in that playoff discussion. I mean, they're still playing for that playoff group of 5 bid. So they win this game, they're going to be in the American Championship game. Playing against I think either Navy or can't think of who else they're playing. USF. I can't remember who else is in that conference. It's Tulane, Memphis, Navy. Well, Memphis just lost to Navy today, so I think it's gonna be Tulane.
North
Can't think
Texas.
of who else in North Texas. That's what it is. So it's Tulane, North Texas, and Navy. If North Texas does win today, it'll be Tulane and North Texas in the American Championship. If North Texas does lose, I think we're gonna be talking about that game here in just a second. But I'll get to that when we get there. But yeah, Tulane minus 30.5. Nothing else to say here. Charlotte's terrible. They probably won't even score any points in this game. Yeah, I think Tulane's able to win this game pretty convincingly. What do you have, DeShawn?
Yeah, this is nasty that it's even about to come out of my mouth, but give me Charlotte. 30.5. My Lord. You know, Tulane's head coach said it best. You know, his team just is, they're not a top 25 team. They're not even a top 30 team. And you have your head coach saying that. And Tulane really don't cover spreads like that either. So yeah, I'll just take Charlotte plus 30.5. That's just a lean. I am not betting on this game at all. I am not betting on Charlotte. I will not be watching this game. This is just hideous. But yeah, if I had to lean, I'll probably lean Charlotte in the 30.5.
Yeah, for sure. I think yeah, don't have a lean here. We'll be watching this game either. Yeah, I think Tulane, they're able just to win this game pretty easily. So that's the game there. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. We got SMU taking on California. This game is being played at California. SMU is 13.5-point spread favorites here. 52.5-point total. 8 p.m. primetime game. So big spot here for SMU. I mean, I don't know if they're in the discussion for the ACC championship. Do you know?
Yeah, I think for SMU, I think it's also. I thought it was a win. I thought it was a win and in for them as well.
I don't know how some of these tiebreakers work for the ACC. Let me check real quick.
I was gonna say, I know I have something on here about that.
Yeah, so the 3 teams here, they're all 6-1 in the ACC. SMU, did they play Pitt?
Let me see.
No, SMU didn't play Virginia or Pitt this year. I don't know how some of these tiebreakers are going to work out for the ACC, to be honest.
I know I have something on here about it. I'm gonna try and find it real quick.
Yes, I mean, none of these teams have played each other, so I don't know how these tiebreakers are going to work out. Yeah, so it's gonna be interesting to see how that plays out.
Okay, I have it here. It says it's pretty much winning in for SMU and UVA. If SMU beats Cal, they're in. If Virginia beats Virginia Tech, they're in. Yeah, if SMU loses and Miami beats Pitt, Miami will be in. Damn, man. Jesus, there's still
wow.
there's also a possibility where Duke can still get in. You know,
Oh yeah.
Duke beats Wake, UVA beats Virginia Tech, and Cal beats SMU. It'll be Duke, UVA. Pitt will get in if SMU beats Cal, Pitt beats Miami, and Virginia Tech beats UVA. So yeah, pretty much it's like winning in for SMU and UVA.
Okay, well, given that information, I do think SMU is able to win this game. They were kind of lost in the dark early on in the year when they had those couple losses. They weren't really talked about much. They were out of like the national picture. But ever since that win against Miami, they've been getting some recognition. They've been playing some good football. They've been winning in some spots that they probably could have been tripped up in some of those spots. This is a tough game though. Traveling out here to California, California does play good football, but they're kind of a team that has been kind of hard to figure out sometimes this year. I mean, they play good some games, they play bad in some others. Man, I think SMU is able to win this game, but I do think Cal can cover 13.5 points here with them being at home. I just think that's a little bit too much. I got this game being 28-21, SMU winning. So, yeah, if you want to take Cal plus 13.5, I wouldn't hate it, but I do think SMU is able to win. So that's my projection for this game here.
I am very, very terrified from SMU. One thing I've been doing all year is fading teams having to go cross country. SMU has to go cross country and play a night game at Cal on senior day. No, thank you. I'll take Cal on the 13.5. I'm sorry to say this, but I'm also going to take a stab at Cal on the money line straight up to beat SMU. And that would probably mean that your ACC championship game, yikes, will probably be Duke and UVA. Oh God, man, that's horrible. But yeah, I just think this is a really, really bad spot for SMU. Especially having this, a night game, prime time, and Cal. And you have to travel cross country, man, all the way from Texas to California. It's not too far of a travel, really not, but it's still a distance. I don't like it. Like I said, Cal was good enough to go on the road and beat Louisville in a primetime game and beat them. They're at home for senior day. I'm sorry, SMU, but it ends here. So yeah, I'll take Cal plus a 13.5 as my main play, but I'll also be putting a little bit of money on Cal to get the outright upset.
Yeah, I don't hate that. I mean, I've been high on Cal a lot this season, and they've been coming through for me most of these times. I think they only screwed me up in one game. I can't remember who they were playing, but I was on them against Louisville when they upset them. I think it was a Virginia Tech game. I think I was on them to beat Virginia Tech, and they ended up losing. But again, California, I've been high on them all season. I think they're very live here to play a very good brand of football. They have that former, Oregon quarterback in JKS. I'm not going to say his name because I'm going to butcher it every time I try to say it. But, yeah, he's former Oregon quarterback. He didn't really play at Oregon, but he was kind of on their team for like a year on the bench. So I think he's going to play a pretty good brand of football here. I think 28-21 is a pretty reasonable final score here. I think SMU can win this game, but California, they're going to hang around here. I don't think they're going to go away here with them being at home. They're also very good at playing at home as well. So I do like California here against SMU. So let's go ahead and move on to the final game of the slate here for the ranked games. Number 9, Notre Dame, traveling out west, taking on Stanford. Notre Dame, 31.5 point favorites, 50.5 point total. And this game is being played at 10:30. Man, you had your pick Indiana getting upset by Purdue. This is my upset pick of the day for the craziness. Give me Stanford on the money line. Springwood plus 31.5. Give me Stanford on the money line to upset Notre Dame, knock Notre Dame out of the playoffs, and Marcus Freeman possibly on his way to Penn State. Who knows? I'm trying to throw out some of these country candidates for Penn State, but give me Stanford on the money line. I think they're going to shock the country here. You got was it Andrew Luck as their GM making some moves in their front office, firing their head coach. He's trying to get that team right. They're going to come ready to play here. At least cover 31.5. At least do that. But yeah, Stanford at home. I mean, they played Florida State. They beat Florida State at home. They're a much better team at home. Notre Dame doesn't want to come out here and play Stanford. So yeah, that's my big bold prediction here for this video. We saved it best for last here. Give me Stanford money line upset here for Saturday. to close out the rivalry weekend here on a strong win. Why not?
Man, this is another one, man. I usually fade the teams that have to go all the way cross country. I know they're going from Indiana all the way to California. Night game, senior day. I'm on Stanford in the 31.5 as well, man. I'm on Stanford. You are getting a better number than I am. As of right now, you can get Stanford outright money line for plus a whopping plus 4,000. And for my Purdue outright upset pick, you can get them for plus 2,400. You combine both of them, that's a plus 102,400. You put a measly $10 on it. That's easily worth over a band. Let me see. Yeah, that'll pay you out 10 racks if Purdue and Stanford get the outright win. So, side note, I probably will be doing that. But yeah, I'm on Stanford. Every time they've played, these ACC teams in Stanford, I've been on them. I was on Stanford outright money line against Florida State, and honestly, they dominated Florida State. They honestly dominated them at home. They played their best football there. Now, I know Notre Dame is head and shoulders better than Florida State, but 10:30 at night, gosh, man, this is what Stanford does. This is the type of game that Stanford wants to play. They want to play these late night games. They're used to this. Notre Dame is not. They're not used to playing at 10:30 at night. This game lasted all the way to almost 1 o'clock in the morning. I think this is a really, really bad spot for Notre Dame. I think that's way too many points. So I definitely will be watching this game. I will be on Stanford in the 31.5 points. And like I just said, I will be on Stanford money line as a ticket for me. I'll probably do this. I'll probably bet it 3 ways. Stanford outright money line by itself, Stanford plus a 31.5 by itself, and then I'll throw them in the parlay with Purdue. And like I said, if just imagine both of those upsets happen, because rivalry week can get real quick, crazy, and real tricky. I can only imagine. I mean, shoot, that's 15. I mean, I had a 50% profit boost, but that's 15 racks right there. So,
not bad. That's not bad at all.
Not bad. Just to get Stanford to if I had to pick between the two, who's more likely to upset their opponent, Purdue or Stanford? I'd honestly go with Stanford. I'd honestly go with Stanford. So yeah, I'm on Stanford.
Well, man, I think Stanford's more likely to upset Purdue because Notre Dame has shown that they can lose to some of these teams at times. I mean, they just played Boston College, I think, a couple weeks ago, and they almost lost that game. They should have lost. I think Stanford would play better than Boston College in that situation because Stanford, they do like to run the ball with Micah Ford. He's their, bell cow running back. I mean, they're gonna hand in the ball probably like 20 plus times in this game. So Notre Dame's defense, I don't think they're gonna travel well. I really don't. I think they're gonna come out here a little bit sluggish. I think if you give Stanford a chance to hang around in here at halftime, it's gonna be a game. This is gonna be for real. So Stanford is my favorite upset pick of the weekend. You want to throw some money on Stanford? That's probably what I'll be doing. My projection, for my projections purposes, I do have Notre Dame winning 26-17. So, but my bold prediction is them winning this game outright. So, I mean, you can go 2 ways on this. You can take the plus 31.5 if you want to take a little bit of a safer route, or if you want to be a little bit more bolder, take Stanford money line. I think it's going to happen. One of the two will happen. I got to say, I mean, either Purdue's going to beat Indiana or Stanford's going to beat Notre Dame. It's got to happen. One of those have to happen. There's always craziness during this time of year. We're trying to figure out which one's going to happen. Hopefully, one of these 2 games will be right in our projections here. So, you have anything else on this game, DeShawn, before we wrap things up?
Yeah, like I said, this is probably the last game of the day. And you best believe if Purdue upsets Indiana, I will be the biggest Stanford Cardinal fan ever. Like, I will be up and screaming at my TV. I will be fully awake watching and hoping Stanford can pull the upset to win me my 15 racks. Simple as that. I'm cashing it out.
Oh, yeah. Cash out.
Cashing it out. I don't know if I can let it ride because, God damn.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
I mean, shoot. If it gets over 5 bands, I'm out of there. so yeah, because I don't, like I said, can Stanford win this game? Absolutely, because every AC team that's went there has played their worst football when they went to Stanford. They played really bad, and Stanford has played decently, pretty good. So yeah, I think the same thing can be said for Notre Dame. I think they're going to have trouble here. So yeah, Stanford, please, please. One of the two get it done because, like I said, I'm on a lot of upsets this week. Whether it's Michigan, Kansas, Purdue, Stanford, California. I am on a lot of upsets. I think this week is going to be pretty upset heavy.
Yeah, I mean, this is that week, rivalry week. It's always chaos during this time of year. Sometimes, some of these teams do end up winning, but there's at least one, maybe two, at least upsets during this time of year. Sometimes these big top teams, too much pressure is on them to win those games to get in the playoffs. Sometimes they tighten up a little bit, and some of these teams that don't have any pressure on them are able to just to go in there and feed off of that. They're able just to play with that momentum. It's all about momentum in these games. It's not about talent level because we already know the talent level is always one-sided in these kind of games. We're just looking for game flow, turnovers, bad throws. All that can happen in pressure-packed situations, and that's what these top teams are going to be facing this weekend. So who's going to rise to the occasion? Who's not going to let the pressure get to them? We're going to find out here in just a few hours once the first games get kicked off. But yeah, it's going to be a crazy weekend of college football. The last regular season week of college football. It's going to be a lot of fun. And hopefully we made enough predictions for you guys that you guys enjoyed. Hopefully you guys do make a lot of money here this weekend because this is like the best time to take those underdog teams and make that, big time money. So, Sean, you have anything else before we get out of here?
Yeah, like, just piggybacking off of what you just said, this can be a week to where you can make a lot of money betting these underdogs. Like I said, I'm going to have a bunch of tickets on these underdogs, covering the spread and outright money line. So it's either going to be a really, really good weekend for me or a really, really bad one. I think it's going to be a really, really good one. And like I said, even if I get 2 of them, not even all of them, maybe 2, 3 of them, I think I'll still be up a really, really good amount. Just because of how big of favorites these favorite teams are. So, I can't wait. I can't wait. I usually don't like to see too many upsets, but it's just too juicy this week.
There's just so many like pressure packed spots for some of these teams. So there's going to be at least 2 upsets. I'm calling at least in the playoff discussion. Teams that are in the playoff discussion right now. There's going to be at least 2 teams that lose. Maybe it's not even the ones we talked about. Maybe we're not even talking about some of the upsets that are going to happen. But yeah, it's going to be a great week of college football. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. Hopefully you guys like some of our picks here today. Again, I'll be linking DeShawn's stuff down in the description below. He has his own YouTube channel. Makes free picks every single day. Go over there, show him some support, build his channel up. Let him know I sent you over there. Also, he's going to be in the Discord, the free Discord down below. We'll be posting all of our picks today in the Discord. So if we didn't talk about some games in this video, we'll have them in the Discord. So get the Discord. Also, a free community of guys in there looking to get free wins on a daily basis, and it's free discussions in there. Get free discussions with myself and DeShawn as well. So if you have any questions on certain players, because I specify in player props, or if you have any questions about certain games, it'll be in the Discord. So get yourself in the Discord and make a lot of money this weekend. So that's it for this one, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.